Alrighty, beautiful people, welcome back to the Verdi podcast. I'm here with the man himself, the best-looking Virtus coach, Aiden Hinson. What a time to be alive. Great man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing real well. It's a beautiful day.
How's your morning been?
Been productive, funnily
You've had
enough.
your servo coffee?
I did.
Grow up.
A couple shots in there. Didn't have the energy to make it at home, so I thought I'd get it on the way.
Mate, you should do a reel of day in the life of servo coffee making and just follow your journey walking into the servo, pouring your 3 shots.
You know what?
Rolling. I'd watch that reel.
It'd probably go viral. I have to get a trending audio on that, but
Seriously.
maybe. I'll add it to the notes.
Add it to the list. How are you?
I'm well. I'm not gonna lie. I've been better.
Yeah. Been a rough bit.
Been a rough couple weeks mentally, but just in a bit of a rut. But there's nothing that I can't come out of.
Absolutely. It's like we'll dive into it a bit.
Yeah.
I reckon later on. And it's kind of I'm actually excited to talk about that stuff rather than it just being a stock standard like, oh yeah, I jump really far and I do comps and stuff like that. So, but first of all, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
When you asked me before and I had a little chance to think about it when I went to the toilet, first thing came to mind was, it sounds cliche and cringe, but honestly, like just bettering myself every single day.
I love that.
I love waking up, first thing, go outside, stand on the grass and just look at the sun. And it kind of opens my mind and allows me to think of what I can do today and what I've got on, and then, just do it.
I love that. Have you always been someone that's wanted to get the best out of themselves, or is it something that's grown over the years?
I think it's definitely grown over the years. It's something that I've known from a young age that I have the ability to do the hard things and get on with it. But especially over the last couple of years, I think of competing at a higher level and having to train. It's something that comes naturally and something that's you do rather than you overly think about. Yeah,
I love that. Oh, it's Miles and Simon.
Hey
boys.
The other two looking guys.
Carry on. I think that that aspect is like super obvious from meeting you and getting to know you better over the last little while. Was it always athletics that was going to be your vessel, or was there times where it was like maybe football, maybe something else?
So up until year 10, I was playing in Rays and doing ATS at the same time. So I was trying to juggle both. Rays training, which was at that point like it just seemed like they were punishing you, and then
which is wild.
Yeah, and then trying to like turn up for ATS training, and it got to a point where I remember I was in school, I was in maths class, and I was just like almost about to cry because I just did not want to go to footy training because I just knew how hard it was. And I think at that point I was like, it wasn't necessarily I was crying because how hard it was. I think it was more me knowing that I was going to choose athletics, give up this footy dream. And I think that was my brain telling me to lean towards more individual sport rather than team sport. But it's hard. Like every year the draft comes around, I'm like, I kick myself. I get a bit down because there's just that small bit in my mind of like, oh, I could have made it. And it always kicks me some years. Yeah,
that's hard. Do you like? Obviously, you made you made the right decision now. Yeah, you can sit here and go, yeah, I made the right decision. Was it obviously you've had that solidifying moment in maths where you realised, but was it like a push and pull for months, years before that, like making that decision?
Yeah, I think it was like up until that point in school, it was probably a couple months before that where the thoughts started coming into my mind. And with me, if a thought comes into my mind, then my brain just follows it, and still to this day finds it really hard to step away from that thought and just move on. But it was kind of push and pull. Like my coach Chloe, For
Shout
shout out Chloe. For athletics, like really, really wanted me for athletics because she'd lost some really good athletes to footy, like Will Hamill, Connor McDonald. They were all training with me at the time, and she thought I was going to go down that path. But yeah, she was pretty happy I stuck. And yeah, now we're here.
From that, talk us through that moment from when you like decided to like now. What's the journey been like from training perspective, from a competing perspective, from a like throwing everything at athletics?
Yeah. Look, it's like some instances have been amazing, some instances have been really hard. I've had a pretty hard path with athletics from a young age. I've been able to get some really good performances, but in terms of injuries, it's been really hard. So I'll kind of take you through.
Yeah.
So yeah, once kind of put everything into aths at a young age. Did really well as a junior. Won, I think, maybe 6 junior national titles in a row. First year of COVID. I'm not sure what year was it. 2019, 2020, 2021,
2019.
2019.
No, 2020.
Yeah,
2020.
March
2020.
Qualified for the World Juniors in Peru. Was going into that ranked first or second, but Australia didn't send a team due to COVID. Fine.
Yep.
Next year, qualified for again, jumped to qualify, I think 12 times. 2 months before I was about to go, I did my hamstring, complete rupture of the tendon, got surgery, missed that, was going into that ranked second and was looking good, had sponsorship lined up from a manager, so missing that was really hard. Next year, first open year, coming back from the hamstring, I just put in a really good pre-season, had a really good team, won nationals as a 19-year-old, did the longest jump run Aussie in, I think, 11 years for triple jump, qualified for the World Athletics Championships in Budapest 2023. Got through that whole season. It was 1 week before my comp on a Saturday, one of my very last training sessions. Had a run up for triple jump, the very last stride onto the board, did my hamstring.
Oh, no.
Was over there in Montpellier, so I missed those championships.
Yep.
And then all the other events I missed, so it's been a pretty tough last 3 years, and then just missing out in the Olympics by a couple of spots.
Yeah.
But I'm still somehow.
But you're right on the nice edge, right?
I am. Yeah.
Like, do you? Because obviously, like, you're studying this stuff. You're coaching here now. You've been in that world for so long. Like, you understand how high level it is, right? Like how, like, pushing your body to that level over and over again. Like, there's bound to be some injuries. You just would like them to happen less often.
Yeah.
How have you? Because like one of the first things I've kind of gotten to know about you is how resilient you are, regardless of all of that stuff. And obviously you've been a bit flat lately, which I want to talk about. But like, how have you? What process do you go through to work through those setbacks?
Yeah. I'm a lot better now than what I used to. I used to let it really get to me. A few of the people on my team, like my psychologist and just a few other coaches, kind of say like, don't try and completely disregard all the negative emotions. Like, don't just, like grief, like if you lost someone, don't just shut it all out. Like, sit in your emotions for a bit, because it's the best way to process them. So now I like to give myself, if I have a bad competition the night of, then I'll be an absolute baby that night. Maybe the next day in the morning, but nothing more than like 48 hours. And
then you get rolling again.
Because like you just gotta, because next training session comes around and that's still on your mind, then it's hard to focus on training. But with like the big injuries, like it is hard, and sometimes it might take a week or 2 weeks to get over it.
Yep.
And you've got everyone telling you that it's going to be all right, but you in your mind are like,
Is it?
Yeah, is it? You're the only one that knows what's going on. The only one that knows how you feel. I got a quote on my whiteboard at home that I put on after the Olympics when I missed out, and I said, adversity is my best friend and not my enemy.
Love that.
I didn't say that anywhere. It just come like straight to my head, and I was like, yeah, you almost got to make it your best friend. You can't let it defeat you. I think you just got to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, I like that. You have to, right? There's two options. You can either stop or you can figure out how to keep going. You mentioned before about the shift between individual sport and team sport, right? What has that been like? Because yes, you've got a team, you've got coaches and psych and all of these people around you, but ultimately it's on you.
Yeah.
I was never anywhere near as good at athletics as you were, but when there was that push and pull between the two, it was footy's no brainer because I wanted to be I worked better in a team environment because I wasn't as good individually, obviously. But from the what's that been like making that shift, and what do you love about that? But what do you miss about the team aspect of it?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's first things first. It's bloody hard being an individual sport. Yes, your footy team, say if you lose, you can put the blame on your forwards, your centre, your ruck,
always
even your coach. You always blame the forwards. Whereas athletics, it's you have a bad jump and it's you got no one to blame. You can blame other things, but ultimately it comes down to you. You're the one that works out how you prepare for a comp.
Yeah.
You're in the comp, after the comp, it's really hard, and traveling is hard by yourself. When I go overseas for competitions, everyone's always I'd love to be in your position where you can travel for us. Yes, I'm super grateful I'm able to travel overseas, but it's for me,
it'd be a lonely place sometimes.
Yeah, if I'm going over to Europe for a comp, I'll get over there 8 hours behind all my mates and that, and then I'm not sightseeing. I'm in the hotel.
Yep.
I'm eating well.
Yep.
I'm not going out. I'm sleeping early. I compete. I leave for the next country the next day and repeat. So it's
So you get to see the hotel and the athletics.
Yeah,
track, and that's it.
I like to say it's a business trip, and that can be really hard, and especially when you say if you don't do well and you're on the other side of the country and you're what am I doing? You spend all this money and you're it's I've had a few realizations where I'm what the fuck am I doing? Yeah, so that's really hard individually.
Yeah, what do you miss about the football environment? Obviously you can blame the forwards, but what do you miss from is it that maybe shared responsibility of I can play bad, but if the 21 other blokes play well, we're still going to go okay?
Yeah, I think so. And just the camaraderie between your mates and being able to, I don't know, I mean, I was a junior, but even now, being able to go to the pub after with the boys. Yeah. We used to have clubroom dinners every night, Sunday after games, just having that and just being in the thick of it with your mates. Say if you lose, you're all in it together. If you win, you're all in it together. You're amped. So I think that team aspect. But I'm pretty fortunate now. I've got a good squad of people I train with. Yeah. So it's real good to get to training and to have a couple of mates there. But it's all different events, and it's still
different timelines, different training sessions.
It's still that hard in that regard.
Do you what's your relationship like with the other guys you compete against, and then the guys you train with, and guys and girls that you obviously I would imagine there'd be obviously there'd be ebbs and flows, but fairly consistent crew that move around to different comps at that level. What are your relationship like with them?
Yeah, with my squad members, really, really good. With a couple of the people that I'm with now, you train with them 4 or 5 times a week. We've been through the hard winter session, so we're really close. Yeah. With the people I compete with, I'd like to say we're close, but it's that weird,
Yeah.
close feeling of like,
We're close, but I want to kick you.
yeah, like you've been competing with them for so many years. Most instances, if we say like have a comp in New Zealand, you'll probably be in a room with them.
Yeah.
You go through different events. You eat with them, and it's like that weird closeness of yes, we're mates, but it's also like we're not mates. And some of the boys that I compete with are better than others. Like there's a couple real like proper douches, but there's a real couple good ones. It's a real weird spot.
I always you always watch. Like I don't follow athletics super close, but I love watching it. Whenever I get a chance, I watch it, and I always find it fascinating the interactions like between different athletes. Like I love middle distance growing up, so you look at all of those guys, and it seems like it's like super polite and super connected, and then you see like the sprinters, and they're like, well, they're either going to say a lot or they're going to say absolutely nothing. And I imagine being the like short, sharp, like field would be fairly similar, where it's like you've got so much time to talk in between, or so much time to be stuck in your own head. Like, what's that like in terms of like, are you a talker out there when you're in between jumps, or are you?
It's I try and keep to myself.
Yeah.
A few of the other boys try and like talk to me like mid comp, and I just kind of give them 1 or 2 word answers. Most of the time, I'm just either focused or just other stuff's running through my head, or being in the sport for so long and coming as a junior, people just try and get in your head for mind games. And a few of the boys, if they do a really good jump, then they're up and about, they're talkative, and they're like just real positive, and I think if you feed into that too much, then it can almost be them playing mind games, and it scares you away. But yeah, like the time in between jumps it's one of the worst and best things that I think you can experience as a triple jumper. I envy sprints when you can,
you're just like
can just get in, have the adrenaline, and just sprint 100 meters, and that's it. Whereas a triple jump comp might go for. Well, I've had one in Japan that went for nearly 2.5 hours.
Yeah, wow.
And just like, just hard to stay mentally right for that.
Yeah, I would imagine like the comps where you're like in a good headspace, when you're in flow, and you can't like they just be smiling the whole time in between, just like hanging out for your next jump, right? Whereas like the comps where, and we've talked about like the last few where maybe you're not in a great headspace and you're not jumping as well as you want, where you'd just be like that feedback loop would be not a positive place to be.
Yeah, like it's a real fine line, and it's amazing what the brain can do to you if you don't stop it, and if you just let it run. Like exactly as you said, you have one good jump, and your whole demeanor, your whole body language, you're positive, you're looking forward to the next jump, you're ready to go. Whereas you have one bad jump and your mind starts saying, you're not good enough, you're not going to jump well, this comp's over, and then you after you jump, you can just sit in that for the next 10-15 minutes before your next jump. And if you don't kind of catch yourself and try and sheer away from it, then comp's over, which sometimes I find really hard to do.
Do you have a process you go through, like a framework where you go, this is what I do when X happens?
I do. I've been working with the psych for quite a couple of years. We've got a good process of, if I have a bad jump, I am allowed to get out of the pit, talk to my coach, but as soon as I then either go and sit down, place my bum on the seat, or pick up my drink bottle, then that's it.
That's why
I put that comp behind me and try and focus on the next comp. So little things like that, but with anything, it's easier said than done. Like
you can be like, this is what I do, and then you put your drink bottle down, and you're like, wait, that wasn't as good.
And then other things like listening to external noises like the music or spotting something out in the crowd and focusing on that, or just listening to something else to try and take your mind away from it. Like a lot of things that you can do, but it's just whether or not you can actually do them and stop those negative thoughts.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that like you've got to be at the top of your game physically and mentally, and you've got to put it all together, and you get only a handful of times to execute, which, you know, considering how much you train and how much you put into it, is kind of fascinating, right? Has it always been triple jump? Was triple jump always where you excelled?
Yeah, kind of. Like I did a few events coming up. As a junior, I was a hurdler for a bit.
Yeah.
I did the 200 hurdles and actually come third at nationals for that.
Get around it.
Which is pretty crazy. Did cross country for a bit.
Yeah.
And then just long jump, triple jump. So that first year when COVID hit, I qualified for the World Juniors for long jump and triple jump as well.
Yeah.
And then I did my hamstring. I think because of training for the long jump and triple jump, like you'd think they'd be similar, but the actual takeoff from the board is like a bit different, and the forces and the biomechanics are different, and doing both of those, I think my muscles were just like, I've had enough, and then they just went. So just stuck with triple from that point.
Yeah, nice. Let's talk about the last couple of months. Obviously just missed out on qualifying for the Olympics. What was that process like was there a time where you're like, fuck, this is going to happen? Or was it, talk us through where you were at through that period, and then what the last few months have been like.
Yeah, so there were a couple times last year where I was like, right, I'm making it. Athletics Australia kind of send out, they put you on the waiting list for the Olympics, so you get all the information that they send out to people that have already qualified. So was getting all that. Had mediocre season, like had some good performances. I was able to come second at nationals, which is always annoyed about. But then I was able to get up and win.
Which is wild. I get it.
I was able to get up and win the Oceanias, which was in Fiji. So Oceania champions are the best triple jumper in basically all the Oceania regions, which was really, really good points, because there's a point system which is another conversation because it's a really tricky point system. But basically
So it's like a consistency thing, but also top jump.
So it's like for the Olympics, it was if you're in the top 32 in the world for ranking, you make it. You can either be in the top 32 or you can jump the auto qualifier. The auto qualifier is like 17:22, which I haven't done. So then you try and get in through ranking points, and each comp has different points and blah, 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 so on and so on. So the Oceanias was an GL, which is the best points you can get. I'd won that. I was like, right, I'm rolling to go. I was in the quota at that point for the Olympics. And then a week later, I got bumped out because of other people in other countries. Went over to Europe, had a couple pretty average comps. And then I was sitting maybe 34th, going to my last comp, and I was like, right, I need a big jump to put me in. And I just couldn't perform under pressure in that point. And then ended, I think, maybe 36th, 37th, which is wild. Which is like really annoying because for Worlds they take top 32, top 36, but for some reason for the Olympics they dropped it to top 32.
That's so annoying. Like, is it because there's obviously the overwhelming feeling would be disappointment, right? But like, you're fucking top 35 in the world. Like, it's a wild juxtaposition of like that knife's edge. Like, you're so close. Does that, like, obviously initially disappointed, but did that fuel that, like, all right, like, I'm going to dial in and really lean in now?
Yeah. Like, Well, more than you like could know. Like
Yeah.
the stuff I was doing throughout training, like the sessions, the team I changed.
Yeah.
I in the like after when the Olympics was happening, I think I was reading a book and I hadn't heard this before, but you've definitely heard it. But nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
And that just like stuck with me because I
Yeah.
had so many things that just needed to change.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I keep this team, then nothing's going to change. So, got a new agent, which is manager.
Yeah.
Got a mentor who, that mentor is a 3-time Olympic champion for triple jump.
Sick.
So got him under my wing. Changed training, just put in absolute like hours and hours and hours and I think that's what's been hard.
Yeah.
With the comps now, it's like I've had these amazing training sessions. Like everything has basically gone right for the last. I've got a diary and up to I think 210 sessions from when I started, and basically all of those have gone right. And it's like you put in all this effort, but now my last comp is like I'm not getting.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out what I've put in, which is, I
Yeah.
think, been the hardest thing.
Yeah, and like, can you sit in the headspace of like, well, you can only be responsible for the process, right? You can't be responsible for the outcome. Like, can you sit in that at the moment with the frustration and kind of go like, the result will take care of itself, or is there like friction with how you're like how you're showing up with comps?
Yeah, like it's been hard. Like it's hard because you tell yourself that the results will come,
Yeah.
but for me, like I need the results
Yeah.
now. Like these comps are good points to qualify for me for
Yeah.
Worlds.
Yeah.
Later in the year, like yes, I've got until August when they select the teams,
Yeah.
but like getting better comps now will help me get into better comps in Europe. So
Yeah.
it's like, yes, I know the results will come,
Yeah.
and yes, I'm like trying so hard to like trust the process, and I know that my work will pay off. But
Is there an element of gripping those handlebars so tight that's almost like to detriment though?
oh yeah, like I'm a perfectionist, and I'm someone who wants everything right there and then.
Yeah.
And yeah, like even going to sleep last night, like put my book down, and as soon as you don't have something taking your mind off things and you just sit in your bed, like my mind was just like going different places, and
Yeah.
and like last night I was even just like still like what am I doing? Like what am I putting myself through? And
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard because it's like you can have really good performances and your mind just goes the complete other way.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird.
Do you feel like even though things aren't going super well, you're better equipped now than you would have been, say, this time last year or the year before,
Yeah.
to overcome this?
Yeah, 100%. And I know for a fact that I am in a lot better form than I was last year. I've been like training the absolute house down for the past 10 weeks. Out of the maybe like 50 sessions, I've had one bad session, and it's like, how am I training the house down so well and absolutely smashing it, but I just can't transition that into comp? It's like my brain and my body just aren't connecting, and that's another really hard thing, 'cause it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's like
It's $1 million question of like what's missing, right?
yeah.
But you had some good chats yesterday that you went through, like with where your head's at. Can you fill us in on that? Because this is a fascinating aspect of it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like I caught up with Australian athletics head of wellbeing and performance, Mel. She's such a great individual, and we actually caught up in Common Folk in Frankston, first time being there. Didn't even know they had other places.
Yeah.
They're
They're about to open a bigger one too.
Yeah, well, I heard there's also one in South Yarra.
Yep.
Up that way. I did not know that. or in the city. But
Sam Keck's taken over the world. He'll love that he came up here too.
Yeah, just like I'm an open book, and I'm being truthfully honest. Like right now, like I do need help. Like I do need mental help. Like I'm not in a good space. So just catching up with her was like really good, and she just pointed like so many things that I was like kind of aware of, but when she ran through like a bunch of these questions, like for example, we had maybe like 10 subheadings. One of them was like relationships. One of them was like community, friends, sport. And it was like out of 5, as 5 being the most important, write the number. So I did like relationships and friends and family. To me, it was like a 5. And then on the other side, it was like, how satisfied are you with like that number and where you are now? And I was like, well, it's a 5, but I'm at a 1 as being like the least satisfied. Like I'm giving so much into aths that I'm just forgetting about everything else in my life. And and I like being honest, like I basically just broke down in front of her. I was like, I am making athletics my identity.
Yeah.
And rather than something that I do a lot of.
Yeah.
And I know I'm talking a lot here, but
it's what you're here for, you fucking peanut.
Yeah, well then like talking about balance and she said that most people think that like balance is this, which it can be, but she's also like balance can be this and this, and she was just like for you balance looks like this, where it's like athletics and everything else is just vertical. It's just straight athletics. And I was like, shit, like that's like so.
But it's almost like it's a byproduct. It's like a follow up of you throwing yourself into everything after missing out on the Olympics last year, right? It's like you kind of there'd be an element of you where you're like, I have to make it my identity. I have to make it everything that I am, because I wasn't able to get to where I wanted to get to. Yeah. Whereas like the answer is, again, we don't know the answer, but the answer is probably somewhere like you have this life that you live outside of athletics that is fulfilling and allows you to get what you need to get. But then athletics is still the main thing, but it's supported by being able to exhale once in a while, which you probably haven't done too much over the last little while. No. Yeah. So was there, because that's super interesting to go through that, like to hear about you going through that process. What was the like actionable things that you took out of that chat, and like what do you think will change, and what does everyone listening need to hold you accountable to doing?
Seeing my mates more, adding in different circuit breakers throughout training. Like I when I'm in training mode and competition mode, I might go like 3 or 4 months of just training, and I'm someone who loves the outdoors. I love camping, I love fishing, I love just getting out in nature, and I always push that aside until after the athletic season. So then when it's late into the athletic season, I'm just like holding on. I'm just like, I cannot wait for the ath season to be finished so I can just get away. So I think adding in little circuit breakers, maybe like every month on a Saturday and Sunday, just get out. And then it's like you can look forward to something every month rather than just grinding away, and just getting out of my house. Like my house is a safe place, and he's someone who does like to be social. I'm also can be a bit of an introvert, and when I'm in athletics mode, it's like I just want to train, I just want to recover, I just want to eat well. I don't want to go out and be with mates when I could be getting a 9-hour sleep, which then puts me in a good spot for training. So
so it's being able to carve out that social time. Pardon me, sorry about the coughing today. It's being able to carve out that social time and that like psychological release without it having to be at 11 o'clock at night or or with 15 beers or all of the things that that I imagine your mates would be doing on the weekends. I think that's like having something to look forward to that has nothing to do with your sport is probably massively important, because it's the life conversation, right? It's like who am I outside of athletics? I imagine there would have been times in your life, and now you're kind of going through it, is like, well, I'm not really sure. Like, does that, because it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just, but the self-awareness of going, and there needs to be some substance outside of that. Like, how does that sit with you?
Yeah, like, so true. Another thing I said to Mel yesterday, wellbeing officer, was like, I just feel like lost, like with feeling like athletics is my identity.
Yeah.
Like I feel as though, like, what else can I give to the world? Like, if I don't make Australian teams, I'm like, well, what do people think of me? They're like, I'm not good enough. Like, it's hard, because it's like, if I don't make the World Championships team this year in Japan, then I'm like, me thinking ath is my identity. It's like, well, you're a failure. Like, that's what you've been training for so long, and you didn't do it. So you're just like, it's. I can't really put the words into perspective, but it's
If you were having this conversation with one of your teammates that you train with, and they were in the same headspace as you are now, and you're like sitting on the outside, like, what would you say to them in terms of, like, if they're saying, I'm, for lack of a better term, worthless for not making it? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I'd say get a grip.
Yeah.
Like, and I try and tell myself that.
Yeah.
I try and...
It's so different when someone else says.
I try and almost, like, parent myself. Like, if I was a parent and my son was thinking that way, like, I'd talk them up and say, nah, like, you're good enough. You're, like, just keep being positive. Just keep, like, things will turn out, and you try and tell it yourself. But if you don't have that 100% self-belief, and you... Like, lately I've just been tricking myself. Like, I'm saying I'm fine. I'm saying I have all this self-belief and confidence, but it's just a show. Like, it's just something that I'm tricking myself rather than that I actually believe deep down. Which, when you say, as you said with your teammate, like, get a grip. Like, I can say that, but it's like, it's almost goes in your brain and then just out.
Yeah, but like, because I'd almost challenge you on that, because like you're saying that you have this false bravado of like self-belief, like, you're good at what you do, right?
Yeah.
So there's substance to that, and the thing is, you've got proof that you can triple jump with the best of them. So it's like, how do you get through that? Like, break that barrier of like, almost doesn't matter how you jump. You still have those things. Yeah. Like, you're still at the top end of what you're doing. It's just not all coming together right now. And like, it must be, I feel for you, because I can see how much you give a shit, but it's also like, you can't make the results happen. Yeah. But all you can do is trust the process, which I know is super cliche. But cliches are there for a reason. So it's like, what do you control? What can you control? What are you doing about it? And then it's just like, hope. Hope for that. I don't know. Hope can be a tactic sometimes. Hope that it all comes together. Yeah. And do it in a way where you're like, because you said before, like, how grateful you are. Do you ruminate on that enough? Do you think of like what you get to do? And you get to do it because you've worked so hard to get it. So it's not like you've been given it. Yeah. But like, the last few weeks you've had, even though you haven't competed the way you were wanting to, like, it's pretty cool that you got to do that. You get to do that stuff, right?
It is, and I try and remind myself that of every time I get a chance. Even speaking to one of my old old mates that I used to compete with, and we always used to go number 1 and 2 in triple jump, and he's retired now, and he's just in finance. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "Do you miss competing?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah," like, and then he just straight out and said, I envy you. Like, I'd love to be traveling and competing and being able to go up against the big dogs." And I was like, shit. I was like, yeah, damn. Like, I am in a position where I can do that, and I think you can get so caught up with just going in the motion that you can forget to be grateful for the position that you're in, and so many things that are going well, like a working body, food, like travel, just a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's hard to appreciate it when you're in it though, right?
Oh,
and it's hard to, cause especially when there's so much friction or so much going on under the surface. I imagine people would look at you like a duck sitting on water, and you're just like, yeah, Aiden's cruising, and then your legs are just going nuts underneath, trying to figure out how to dial everything in. But your friend's right. Like, if you're 10 years down the track and you're looking at spreadsheets, you're probably like, oh, I kind of wish I was back.
Yeah.
Dealing with all the shit I was dealing with in 2025. Greg's got a line that I really like that might be helpful for you. It's like, treat yourself like an 8-year-old version of yourself. Like, how would you talk to yourself? What would you do? Like, you'd give yourself so much more grace than you're giving yourself now.
It's actually quite funny because on my I don't know if the camera can see that, but on my lock screen is a picture of my old self.
Love.
I don't know if you'd be able to see that, but
he'd be pretty proud of you, I reckon.
Just another thing where I'm like, I just want to be a younger me, where you just go through life. You don't think, you don't have all the stress, and it's like to take me back to then, and exactly right. Yeah. Like when I'm older, when I'm 35, 40, and I'm not when I'm not competing, it's like take you back to when you're 21 and being able to do all this. So
as an old washed up athlete, it goes quick. So it's like, like obviously there's an element of like doing your best, but just find ways to carve out enjoyment, right? You going to Perth next week?
I am.
Which will be, you'll have just finished competing when this drops. So what's the plan for Perth?
Oh man,
nationals.
It's honestly still trying to work that out myself. I normally go into comp with expectations of certain distances I want to jump. For me, I think for Perth, it's just trying to go out there and have some fun. Like the last couple comps,
I want to see you smiling on the live stream.
Yeah, I want to be like that. Like the last couple comps, I just haven't had that love. I haven't had that enjoyment out there, and I just want to get into Perth, have no expectations of myself, just be a junior and just jump with a smile on my face and actually love what I'm doing. Yeah. Like I'm actually craving that so bad. I'm doing that in training, but it's like comp is just so different, and that's what I want to do. Yeah,
good. So, talk me through the process of like getting ready for a nationals comp. It's nationals, right? Yeah. Getting ready for a nationals comp. Obviously, and something we might talk about in a minute. But going to a different state, jumping on a plane for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, what does that process look like for you from like today, which is Thursday? When do you leave?
Leave Tuesday.
So what does training look like over the next 4 or 5 days? And then what does the process look like going into a comp?
Yeah, it's tedious. It's a lot of different things go into it. So I only have a couple more sessions left on the track. Tonight will be pretty light. Gym probably Friday. Track session again Sunday. Just real light. Just only a few jumps. Just trying to more get the feel. Like I could not train from now until comp and I'll be sweet.
Yeah.
But it's more just like trying to tick the body over, like the work's been done.
Yep.
From now until nationals, not going to get really any benefit from anything else. And then with the travel, yeah, because it's a bit long of a flight. Leave the Tuesday, and then the qualifying will be Thursday, final Saturday, and then probably from Monday or Tuesday, my like diet kind of just completely changes. So from Monday to basically Saturday, I'll not have many veggies.
Yep.
I'll not have much fiber. It's real tedious, but basically fiber holds weight with water in your
So
gut.
maybe a bit heavier.
A bit heavier. So trying to cut out that, you might drop, I don't know, maybe all up 700, 800 grams,
Yep.
but it can make a difference. Get the carbs up, and then just trying to relax really before it. Make sure the recovery is right, and then just rip into it.
Love that. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much. It'll be interesting.
I probably should have asked this before, but when you're traveling overseas to do your comps, what's the process like? Obviously, you spoke about seeing hotel rooms and athletics tracks, but what's the process like getting yourself into a headspace to compete when you're like in a whole different world, essentially?
Yeah, it's something that I honestly think I'll still be trying to figure out in the next couple of years. Like, I might have only got it 80% figured out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's challenging, especially with the new time zone. Like, from 2 days before you leave, say for like a long haul flight, like you got to be doing all these different things. Otherwise, you'll be jet lagged, and then that'll throw you training and comp out. So it's like so many little different things, like wearing my sunnies in between flights in the airport, so then the light, popping the melatonin at the perfect time, not eating at this certain time.
Yeah.
Every little minuscule thing to not be jet lagged, and then because it can just ruin your comp. There's for overseas travel, there's like a period where you can basically get there the day before. Say if you leave from Australia to Europe, you can get there the day before comp and you'll be fine because jet lag doesn't necessarily hit until like 30, 48 hours.
Yep.
Or you have to get there a week before.
Yep.
But yeah, mindset, it's real difficult because you've got all this added pressure of I've come all this way, I've got to show up, I've got to put in, and for some of the comps like I've had in Europe, they've been at like 9 o'clock at night because the sun doesn't set. So it's like at home here, I'm in bed, but I'm asleep by 9. So it's then like trying to push back your sleep a week before so then you can get ready for it. Yeah. It's real challenging.
Yeah, because you got to change essentially every aspect of your life, right?
You do. It's hard.
Yeah. So after Nationals next week, you smile, you jump with a smile, and you crush it. What's the plan for the rest of this year? Athletics wise,
yeah. So, look, if I'm being honest, it's honestly dependent on Nationals. Yeah. It's I don't want to manifest it, or I don't want to throw it out in the universe. But if I do have a bad comp, then it will put me in a hard position to then get into some good Europe comps or Japanese comps to then qualify for Worlds.
Yep.
So then it's like, do you go over? Do you chase like so hard and try and get into comps and try and get points? And then it's like extra pressure of you have to jump really well.
Yeah.
Or the other thing is I jump, I absolutely smash it at Nationals. I jump really well. I win. I get those real good points. Get into real good.
It's a good plan, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon. But so if that happens, I'll probably have a week off from training, almost start like another mini pre-season.
Yep.
Go over to Europe in probably start of June, and I might base there for like anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, just competing, traveling around, training, and then most athletes actually stay over there and then go over to Worlds, but that's like 3 months, and I could not do that. I can't be away. Like I like Australia. I like my routine. I like my family. I like the coffee. I think even like 6 weeks.
All right, we'll send you some common folk over.
Yeah, honestly, send it over. Like last year, I was away for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, right, get me home. Like,
Yeah.
it's just the little things you miss.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is hard. Like seeing your dog waking up, making a coffee, going to the beach, sunshine.
It's we've got it pretty good here.
Oh, mate, traveling the world like has definitely made me realise how good we've got it in Australia. Like, no complaints.
Yeah, I love that. We obviously haven't spoken about it, and we'll wrap up in a moment. But been coaching at Virtus for a few months now.
Yep.
We love having you. What's it been like?
Oh, it's been unreal. It's doing my internship here and then being able to actually coach. Like, I feel like as a coach, I've already developed so much.
Absolutely.
Finishing off one of my very first programs for a VAD athlete, Jasper is a basketball player and
Superstar basketball player.
He is. And just finishing that and
it was very good too, by the way.
Was it?
I haven't given you that feedback yet.
Oh, I was kind of stressing over it. I was going to ask feedback, but just like doing that and just feeling like accomplished that I can create a program and I do have the qualities and the strengths as a coach to put that into place, coach it, go through the exercises and even give an explanation of why to the athlete if they ask.
Yeah.
So the things I've learnt here already, and I know that in a years or two, like the strengths and that I would have developed will be even better now.
Absolutely. And you've got so much more experiential learning than most people from an athletics perspective, or from a competing perspective. That, your wisdom that you've already got, even though you might not think so, is going to be invaluable to our athletes. So it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on today. Love
right,
chatting to you. Thank you for being open and honest and
always.
open book things. I'm very excited to see how you go next week and see you smile. That's all I care about.
Yeah, we'll have to jump on for another potty after.
Done. Absolutely.
And then if things change or if things don't change, then we can go through that. Any members that are listening, feel free to ask me any questions. I am an open book, so if you have any questions at all, just send me a DM or ask me in person.
Good from you.
Be amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.